This video is brought to you by 3, bringing you 4G at no extra cost.
Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here with two Android Wear devices, the LG G Watch and the Samsung Gear Live. As far as the design of both of them goes, you can see they look relatively similar. They're both rectangular watch faces, and of course they're both strap type form factors, but you can expect very, very different hardware across both. You have a larger capacity battery in the G Watch for starters. On the Samsung Gear Live, however, you've got this metal frame around it, and the screen is also Super AMOLED as opposed to IPS. What's more, the Samsung Gear Live has a heart rate monitor. On paper, you can clearly see why it's pretty much anyone's guess as to which is better, especially given there's only a £10 price discrepancy between them here in the UK. But we've had them both for a month, and this is our in-depth comparison. As far as the design goes, like we said, they look relatively similar. Both sport straps, and we can unlatch the G Watch and bring it into frame to reveal it's a very, very traditional strap on the G Watch. It's a rubberized strap as well, it's worth noting, and unfortunately it does clasp onto hair on hairier wrists ever so slightly. It also doesn't feel super premium, but all is not lost. You can change the strap thanks to the standardized watch strap fitting. You can also see, like we said, you've got a 1.6-inch IPS display on the front. No buttons around the sides, no buttons on either side or at the base of the device beyond this teeny tiny button which you have to activate with a pin. It's a very, very irksome thing to do when you want to turn your watch off to save battery, for example, or indeed if you're going onto a plane or something and then you want to turn it back on. A real high point of the design of the G Watch has got to be the charging plate. You can simply place the G Watch on top of the charging plate and away you go, you are charging. You can see as we pick it up that is magnetized, and so you have a fundamentally convenient solution for a desk. If you want to charge it in your bag or something, well, good luck, because you'll probably need an elastic band to keep the two pieces tacked together. But for most situations, we can imagine you'll much prefer having this kind of charging solution to this one. What are we talking about? Well, putting the G Watch to one side, we can move on to the Samsung Gear Live. And you can see around the flip side, which is where we're going to start, you do have that heart rate monitor, which you don't have on the G Watch, but you do also have the charging plate contact points. Clip it on, and just like with most Samsung Gear devices, you have a clip-on charging plate with a micro USB out, and that will very, very awkwardly charge your device, for example. Unless, however, it is in your bag, in which case this is definitely the better solution of the two, as it's a much, much firmer clasp. As far as the rest of the design goes, pretty much in every other respect, that Samsung Gear Live really does win out. You can see you've got a more premium design. You've got the metallic surround around the fascia itself. You've also got that screen, which is a design element centerpiece. It's pretty stunning. It's got a resolution of 320 by 320 by contrast to 280 by 280. You've also got a button, hurrah, so you can power this on and power it off with ease. The button also works to dim the screen, as indeed does a hand over the entire display, which is a really nice function, gesture-based function. All the gestures work relatively evenly across both, insofar as twisting the wrist, raising it to the face in order to activate that screen. As far as the actual strap goes, it's a different soft touch plastic material. It feels significantly better, feels richer, and you also have a nice little bit of premium factor right there, which is the metal clasp in which you can wedge the back with the actual holes on the other side of the strap side. If we swipe that out of the way, we can see it's actually activated Google Now. You can also see there's a microphone to the right hand side, and all in all, you just have a better fit and finish. Probably our favorite thing about this, the fact you've got rounded edges means it just sits really, really nicely on the wrist. So as far as design goes, for versatility's sake, probably the G Watch will take another strap a little bit better, even though both have standardized watch strappings. But overall, in terms of premium factor, we can see why the Gear Live is indeed £10 more. Now moving on to that screen, and we've already touched on them both quite heavily. We can swipe out of the way until we get some similar items on both displays, where there's always a safe bet, and we can pull them in. You can really see there's a deeper screen on the right hand side in the Super AMOLED panel. In addition, it's sharper, so text just looks that little bit crisper. As far as the animation goes, they're both very, very smooth, so there's no real discrepancy there, and that largely comes down to performance. And touch interactivity across both is very, very comparable, and they really do showcase how far we've come in terms of interacting with things like smartwatches. Inside both of them, as if you couldn't tell, it is Android Wear. There are some slight discrepancies as far as watch faces go. So if we, for example, long press, we can see we have different watch faces on here. We can long press again. One really nice thing about the Samsung watch faces is it's borrowed a watch face from the Gear series, which is a dual clock. But having said that, generally you've got more of a choice of watch faces on the LG G Watch. We're not too fussed about watch faces. Additional watch faces can be downloaded. These are something that you can customize down the line. So we wouldn't say this was a major factor in us choosing our device. But having said that, like we said, the G Watch maybe just gets a slight edge on that front, but the actual display crown all in all really does go to the Samsung Gear Live. When it comes to battery, the LG G Watch has a larger capacity cell to the Samsung Gear Live, and so on paper it was a very obvious one. The LG G Watch should just be better, 400 milliamps to 300 milliamps, but it isn't. It's actually significantly worse in our experiences. This may come down to the Super AMOLED panel, the fact that when the screen is on standby it actually uses less power. Whatever it is, the LG G Watch died after around a day and a half, whereas the Samsung Gear Live easily got through 2 days. Not quite as good as the Samsung Gear 2 Neo, but not too far off. This may also come down to the fact that Samsung's had prior experiences with power management on smartwatches. Therefore, we would definitely say it's worth stumping up the extra £10 for the Samsung Gear Live. If, however, you're looking for a device that's more design agnostic and will maybe focus a little bit more attention on your watch strap that you add to it later, then the LG G Watch may well be for you. After all, at the end of the day, if you're charging your phone every day, charging your watch as well shouldn't be too much of an inconvenience. Hopefully you've enjoyed our side-by-side. If you've got any questions about the LG G Watch or the Samsung Gear Live, make sure you fire them in the comments section below. If you like the video, click like. If you like BTech in general, make sure you click subscribe and stay tuned, especially over the next week where we should be bringing you more Android Wear devices from IFA 2014.